growth in wisdom, knowledge, you see, self-understanding and self-discovery, healthy relations, self-control. All those things are hateful. But this is the only way a minority can rule over a majority of people, is by turning their minds backwards so that they love the things that destroy them and hate the things that move them forward. In order for these people to rule over us, we must hate learning. It has to be built into us. We must think that we can't do math. Because you see, if we do math, if we were into learning, if we were into research and into thinking and into, real philosophical ideas and abstractions, we would defeat those people. They know it. So consequently, what they must do is rob you of all of these things so that they may stay in there.
I'm back. Thank you for tapping in. This is Brian HRap B. Williams. This is the End of the Bench Media. I am tapping in today to basically let you know that we got to stop believing the lies. This is a few minutes from HRap with HRap. And I thank my parents every show. Thank you, Dolores and John. Without them, there's no me. Without me, you'd be doing something else with your valuable time. If you haven't already, hit like, hit subscribe, tell a friend to tap in. It is important. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you're not watching this live, you can watch it on www.theendofthebench.com. That is www, as you see on the screen, theendofthebench.com. That is my website. You can get all my work. Well, you can get 90 days worth of my work. And then you can move on to YouTube if necessary and see what you want to see. Now, I want to thank you for tapping in. It's important. Who are you? Who do you believe, yourself or what somebody who doesn't like you tells you you are? We are in a situation to whereas we have been put in at a disadvantage because we've been groomed into this Americanized way of thinking. We've been groomed into this foolishness that we call this criminal enterprise that we call the United States of America. We've done that. We are that. We have become that. And the reason I say we've become that is because as we've done these things, we've never reinvested in us. We've only invested in the United States and the ideology of the United States of America. If you are investing in yourself, then you invest in, just like with your family, you invest in your significant other, you invest in your children, you invest into your relatives. That's how you do it. But we have invested in the neighborhood, our relatives, and left our children and significant others by the wayside, it seems, because you have situations to whereas people are no longer doing what they need to do to survive. They're doing what they need to do to go along and get along. That's why you're able to get put in front of the world as violent, as chaotic, as low expectation having and things of that nature, because you never are shown, because you're waiting to be shown. You're not seeking that information. You're not engaging in that information. You're not participating in that information. We've gotten to the point, in my opinion, my purview, we wait on people to tell us who we are, and what we're doing. And when you do that, what you do is put yourself at a disadvantage because you're allowing someone else to tell you. At no point in your life would you allow me to walk in your house and say, hey, the paint is wrong. The furniture is in the wrong place. You shouldn't be loving your significant other the way you should. You should raise your children. You would put me out your house, and then you would reinforce what you've already done to ensure the rules, regulations, and stipulations are staying in effect. That's what you would do. That's what you should do. Because if anybody tries to pose a threat to what you've created, you should do away with that threat exponentially. We don't do that. We say, oh, we have to adjust to these standards. But we don't have to adjust to any standards because we have our own set of standards. We have our own set of rules. We have our own set of, we have our own culture. But we don't seem to buy into that culture because for whatever reason, I don't know why. I can't tell you why. We seem to believe that culture is substandard. And when that culture is substandard, you find yourself in a situation to whereas people will treat you as such. That's why people are able to tell us, hey, this is who you are. You get people exchanging information. We must do better. We have to do better. See, we're better than this. And as if chaotic behavior is part of our communication strategy, and it's not. That's not who we are. That's not who we've never been. Those people, but we've allowed people to tell us who we are. Therefore, when you allow someone to tell you who you are, you become what they think you are. And sad to say, we've bought into it. We've bought into it, and it's time to stop that. See, first and foremost, I want to ask a few questions tonight. The first question I want to ask you is this: who are you? Are you some of the greatest human beings in the history of the world? And if anybody's watching this and it's not a part of my culture, and you think I'm being arrogant, so what? So be it. So be it. That's the way it is. If you say that, then so be it. But I'm not going to admit who I am so you can be comfortable. That would be asinine for me to say, well, I'm going to be a little less so you'll be a little more comfortable. And if you're a little more comfortable, you'll accept me. And if you accept me, I feel better about me. No, we are the greatest people in the history of this planet. Nobody in the history of this planet has been through what me and my people have gone through on no level, at no point in the history of the world. At no point, we can start from the bottom and work our way up to the top. At no point in the history of this world has anyone's diet been taken from them. If you live in a culture in which you consume fish on a daily basis and you do seafood on a regular basis and it enhances your lifestyle, nobody's coming taking that away. If you're a vegetarian, if you're a vegan, if you are a herbivore, however your diet is constructed, no one has ever taken that away. No one has ever taken away the names of people on this planet. No one has ever taken away the culture of the people on this planet. Nobody. You can't find another group of people on this ball called Earth that they've taken away that. They've taken away our religion, our culture, our God, our diet, our family. And guess what? My people still walk around these United States of America, and they walk around the world of people who were encaptured here on North America. And we still smile. We still greet each other. We still greet each other with smiles. We still embrace other cultures. We embrace other people without anger and without strife. Now, what I am going to say, and I usually don't even address these things because it's going to be somebody who sees this and say, but we treat each other. No, we don't. You don't see Black people walking down the street in these United States of America worldwide, hitting each other, stabbing each other, shooting each other on a grand scale. If you will allow someone to show you that and you believe your limited experience is that, then that's your poor life and that's your poor mind state. But I don't have a poor mind state and I don't have a poor life, because I understand that for every one person on the television news or the world news or wherever they show my people that is doing something nefarious, there are literally hundreds of us doing the very right thing. There's hundreds of us that's getting off work. Guess what? It's somebody on the way home right now listening to this program. They've tapped into what I'm talking about. They will tap into what I'm talking about. Or they've subscribed to what I'm doing and they're listening right now and they just got off work and you're telling me that person doesn't exist. You told me that person, you're saying, hey man, that person don't exist. That's why, we need to do better. No, some of us need to do better. And guess what? Even the people who are doing the best, the people who are walking that straight line, that line could be a little more crisp. Your clothes could be a little more pressed. Your English could be a little more enunciated. Everything that you do, you can open yourself up to learn something in addition to what you know. So there's always room for improvement. But the improvement here is, who are you? Are you loud? Are you rude? Are you disrespectful? Are you a degenerate? Are you uneducated? Are you participating in nefarious activities on a regular basis? No, you're not. Are there people in our community that are doing that? Yeah, just like that is a human thing. All those things I just described are human things. And you know what? Maybe I even give some people this. Maybe, just maybe, a lot of people and our people are a little more boisterous than other cultures. Maybe we're louder than other cultures. I give you that. But you know what? When you live in a culture in which people from your community had to literally, you ever heard of somebody say, you're a bear to laughs? You know why that statement comes about? because black people used to have to not laugh out loud in public. They used to make you stick your head in a barrel and laugh. Yes, that's where that statement comes from. A barrel of laughs. You had to put your face in a barrel. You had to subjugate yourself. You had to get out of the way when other people from other cultures are simply walking down the street. If it's raining outside, you had to get off in the mud and let somebody else walk past you. So when you've been oppressed, depressed, and discriminated against, maybe you are a little more loud than you should be. But you know what? That's not our problem. That's not the greatest problem in the world. Our women are, these black women are always high attitudes. No, they don't. Or how about this? If black women always have attitudes, ask the question. Ask the why behind the why. Why is she so loud? No. What makes her feel like she needs to be so loud? How about this? 400 years of picking up her children, raping her, destroying, killing her man right in front of her, having to tell her young lady or young man to suppress their intelligence, suppress being robust, suppress their creativity, because if you're creative, if you're robust, if you're energetic, they may take you and sail you down the road. So that type of stuff after 400 years may piss the hell out of you, piss you the hell off, excuse me. I'm sorry. Maybe that's why black women got an attitude, but they don't. They're responding. Don't tell me I have an attitude, and I'm speaking for the sisters. Don't tell me I have an attitude because you've disrespected me for 400 years. You've disrespected my family. You disrespected my man. You disrespected my children. You disrespected my essence. And now you want me to walk down the street and smile. And if you don't understand why that is, I don't believe it. But if you think it's true, fine, let's address it. If you think black women got attitudes, this is what I want you to understand. The very first woman ever captured and enslaved in this country, the very first person from my community that was ever captured and enslaved, all that stress and anguish and tyranny is built up inside of her. So she has 2 daughters. Those 2 daughters are born with all the eggs that'll ever be in their system at birth. They don't have to wait for puberty. Those eggs are sitting inside of them. And guess what? All that stress from your mother is in there. And then it's now the grandmother and so forth and so on. And then how about this? You pile on some of your own stress and anxiety. So now that started in the early 1500s, 1300s, 1400s. Late 1400s, early 1500s. That's when that started. And then you extrapolate that to 2025. So you got that much tyranny, anger, anguish built up inside one person, and then you push them. Hell yeah, they're going to go off on you. So if you got a problem with black women, stay the hell out their way. That's what you do. Hello, ma'am. Can I help you? That's what you say. But I know my sisters ain't all walking around with attitudes. If you trigger somebody, you can't say, if you light the fuse of a bomb, you cannot complain that it destroyed everything, because you could have kept that match in your pocket. You could have met that woman with respect. You could have met that woman with adoration. You could have supported that woman, but you chose to antagonize. And even the Bible say, don't provoke. Because if you provoke, don't be mad when whatever happens. Our children, they are not all losers and pants off the butt and gangbangers and drug addicts and lazy. And a lot of them are not lazy. Y'all identify wanting your own business as lazy. You don't want to work. No, I don't want to work for the man. I don't want to work. I don't want to make EA, Nike, Amazon. I don't want to make them richer. I want to make myself rich. But see, you don't speak their language, therefore you think that equates to lazy. I got people when I do this. So you got your little podcast and you got your little this and your little that, because you don't have the ability to dig deep inside of what you already have and pull out something creative and something that you want to do. So you identify me as a dreamer. You identify young people as losers and crybabies and lazy, because you are a mental slave. It is what it is. That's the way I see it. Disagree? Cool. If you agree, understand. Why don't we start engaging with these young people? You know what? Maybe you should have engaged with that young person when they were 6, or maybe not, because then you'd have tried to convince them to be enslaved just like you. See, it's easy to say what somebody isn't. It's harder to look at that person, identify that gift, uplift that gift, enhance that gift, hopefully help develop that gift. But it's easy to shake your finger and say what you should do. And meanwhile, you want some young person to get up and get a job. Look, you have to get paid. You have to pay your way in this life. But to force them into a box of employment, well, you got to be there for 20 years. You know what? When you're 18 years old, you got to get a job and you got to stay there for the next 30 years. And then you die at 65 wishing you would have. Meanwhile, other people around you are doing what they could have done, what they wanted to do, and developing things that will enhance them and their family, and they're successful, and you sit back and praise them. If you don't understand where I'm coming from, and you had Netflix or you have some type of streaming service, look at Eddie Murphy's documentary on Netflix. His mother is on there. She said, I thought my son was going to be a bum because all he talked about was being famous. That's how you become famous. That's how you become the most successful Black actor in the last 50 years. That's why you become iconic, because you're laser focused and you put everything you have into it. Because you know what? As Robert Townsend said in the movie Hollywood Shuffle, it's always work at the post office. That ain't hard to get. But to do what you want to do and bust and break your back to get where you want to be, that's difficult. And it's even more difficult when people look at you inside and outside your community and make accusations about your inability to do what they think you should do versus using your creativity and making a way. We sit around and complain about Black unemployment. You know why Black unemployment is so high, if you ask me? Because we don't open anything. We don't need no more damn chicken shacks. We don't need no more damn hairdressers. We need stores. We need grocery stores. We need corner stores. Do you understand how much money travels through the Black community on a regular basis? Just imagine if all of those other cultural stores in your inner city communities, border to border, coast to coast, if you owned 50% of those, then you can hire people. And every time, everybody was upset about benefits being taken. That benefit money came back for a specific reason. And I'll talk about that in just a second. But if we engage in who we are and bet on us, we would win unequivocally without any doubt whatsoever. But we allow people to tell us who we are. Our women are not trifling. Our young people are not lazy. And most importantly, me and the other Black men in this community, we break our backs and do everything we can to work, to engage, to uplift, to support our people. Are there a few brothers out there that are trifling as hell? Yep. But you know what's ironic? You will identify a lot of Black men. Oh, it's not a lot of Black men in the Black household. But if more than 50% of the households are ending up in divorce, it's not a lot of anybody in the household. The nuclear family is a thing of the past. How many times have you told your children, ladies, how many times you told your daughter, hey, let me meet that young man? See, because your mama see through that fool. How many of time, let me meet that young lady. Your mama see through that fool. You go take that, you meet a new dude, he real cool, introduce him to your father. How many of us have done that? I didn't. I ain't introduced nobody. But you introduce people to your parents will see through it. See, it's an African tradition about courting and being engaged and married. Get this, it is an African tradition to have the dude who's attempting to court your daughter, his friend or his uncle must come to that girl's father and say, hey, and pitch a case for him to date your daughter. Now, do you know what type of stand-up individual you have to be for somebody else to speak up for you? Because if you're not stand up, I'm not putting my name on that. And I'm not saying we need to do that, but young ladies, introduce your boyfriend or potential boyfriend to your father. Even if your father ain't never engaged with you in your life, take him over there. Your father's, he will understand, and your father understand he need to get away from you. Young men, take these young ladies. I'm in the child support and all of these chicks tripping. Take them to your mama's house. Your mama will know. See, we have to get back into rearing. And rearing does not stop at 18. Rearing does not stop at 21. Rearing does not stop at 55. Well, it stopped for me because my parents are no longer on this side of reality. But the things that my parents and my grandparents poured into me before they transitioned, it's still there and it's working every day. So how in the entire hell do you expect to thrive and excel and prevail if you allow somebody to tell you your children are no good, your men are no good, your women are no good. Because guess what? Those elders, that's why they're getting disrespected. Because I'm walking around no good. Y'all allow people to tell us who we are and how we living and expect good results. Asinine. And it's devastating. That's what it is. It's devastating because we've allowed people to tell us what we are. Their best weapon is your mind. Because see, we allow them to tell us say little sexy words to us, nigga. Or y'all like to say the N-word. Maybe I should have said the N-word. You know, I don't understand why we allow that word to trigger us publicly. See, they use those terms in that conversation to throw us off our points of attack. What do you mean by points of attack? See, if you stop thinking, the greatest weapon you have is in between your ears. I don't care if you can shoot a gun like Clint Eastwood, a bow like Robin Hood, strong as Hercules. Your mental will beat all their physical. People like General Patton, they stole their style from Shaka Zulu, a black man. Yeah, all these wars are being won in accordance to how Shaka Zulu presented himself in this world. Yes, don't believe it. General Hannibal Barker, another black. He wasn't jumping off elephants and just beating the hell out of everybody. He had strategy. He used the muscle between his ears. And when you are triggered by the N word, LGBTQIE people, the F word, the D word, when you're triggered, you stop thinking about what you're up against and you start thinking about an individual. The system is trying to stop you. The system in the United States of America is created to subjugate my people and then the working class. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. They get you to hate people. You see ICE driving up on people, and then if they grab, quote unquote, the wrong person, he's a citizen. So you think it's okay to mace? I saw a baby get maced, a Latino baby that ICE drove past and put pepper spray in a car with like a 4-year-old in the car. So that's okay because they were not born in this part of North America. Because guess what? Mexicans, they're Americans. Canadians are Americans. You are a citizen of the United States. You're not just an American. You're a citizen of the United States because if you live on North America, you're in America. You live in Central America, you're American. If you live in South America, you're American. These are the Americas. And then you say, oh, well, they shouldn't have did this and they wouldn't be treated like that. If you come out your fool ass mouth and be a black individual and say that, you should be slapped in your fool ass mouth for saying that. Because what long ago, I'm 55. And if I was 60, I'd be born in the 60s. And it was putting dogs on our people, and it was people at home from other cultures saying, well, if they wouldn't have went to the lunch counter, they wouldn't have got beat. They had to do something to get those dogs put on them. They had to do something to get those hoses put on you. So again, you allow somebody to tell you who you are, and then you use their greatest weapon against your greatest weapon against you. You stop using your mind, which means you're no longer using humanity, and you're allowing the people who kicked you clean right in between both legs and the crack of your behind, and you see somebody else do it, and you know, and you say, and you normalize it. But see, you love Dr. King, and you love Malcolm X, and you love all these people from our past. Since you love Dr. King, did you hear him say, oppression anywhere is oppression everywhere? And then that stops you from allowing ICE to roll up on the Latino people, because you know what? While they're practicing on our Latino brothers and sisters, who they practicing for? Your ass. The foot used to be solely on your neck. So they got the boot off your neck again, back to Malcolm X. A knife 9 inches in your back. They pull it 4 inches out. And you going, that's progress. No, it's not. That's regress, because you think you're doing better because it ain't 9 inches into you. I'm not doing better until the wound heals. Our wounds have not healed. They're just putting wounds on other people, and you think it's okay. And it's not okay. It's damn sure not okay. But you're dumb enough to believe that. Oh man, they should have filled out the proper papers. Are you outside your damn mind? Are you really outside your damn mind and believe that it's okay to attack women for coming into a world in which their ancestors were on this side of the world first? At one point, their ancestors could walk all the way up to Nova Scotia and all the way back down to Peru. They could do that. And then somebody came over here and changed the rules, and you dumb enough to be. Those are the rules according to who? Since you love God and you love Jesus and you're a Christian and you all that, show me in your book where it says, and then you can put pepper spray on children. Nah, man. And then this again, it'll be some jackass, and I mean jackass. Let's say, well, it says render unto Caesar. Nah, man. It's about right and wrong. It also says treat your brother as you would treat yourself. Those people are brothers and sisters. And would you want your niece, nephew, cousin, mother, father, aunt, or uncle treated like they're being treated? Hell no. Because they're practicing on them. They're using your tax dollars to practice to kill you. And you watch it. And it ain't got nothing to do with me. Right now. Because guess what? When they was taking the western part of the country, even though some of the people who identified as Indians or indigenous people, they helped grab us too. But again, when they was raping them and taking their buffalo and killing the eagles and killing all the animals and destroying tribes, what they got rid of them and then they came back to kick you and your ass some more. How many times was they play the same record? Just because Luther Vandross made that song popular don't mean Wolrd didn't sing it first. Just because Marvin Gaye didn't make it popular don't mean Marvin Gaye didn't make Luther Vandross didn't sing it first. Marvin Gaye sang it first. And there are several songs that you think are all-time hits. Whitney Houston took that Dolly Parton song and blew it out the water, but it was a Dolly Parton song. Don't think things are changing. History don't repeat itself. It's just a rhythm to it. And you keep you letting them use their best weapon, your mind, against you because you want to fit into a situation. You got to be crazy. How can you sit around and boastfully say, is this much money coming through our community and be proud and you don't own anything? Why is it problematic when you say shop black on and then you get people like Wallow 267? Being black ain't good enough. Well, you know what? Other cultures think being theirs is good enough. And why would you equate poor behavior to our community? And then simultaneously equate great behavior to another community. See, when I was on the street trying to survive, doing things I shouldn't have been doing, it was other people trying to survive that screwed me over. But now that I'm doing much better dealing with people who are 100,000-aires and millionaires and potentially billionaires, they ain't cheating me because they're not trying to survive. They know where their next meal is coming from. Guess what? The people who own Barstool, the last time they didn't know when their bills were being paid was way before when you were still incarcerated. You've been out for a decade, I think. You wasn't even thinking about podcasting when the last time that they didn't know when their bills are going to be paid. So stop judging people who are in survival mode for attempting to survive, because all I could think about is right damn now. That's all I could think about. So don't tell me, oh man, everybody have a moral compass. It sounds good until your ass hungry, till the missed meal cramps hit your stomach, till your stomach so empty you think your throat got cut. Then all of a sudden you making decisions that you never thought you would have made. People don't sell drugs because they like to see people smoke. People sell drugs because they broke. Period. But you are allowing other people to make you emotional. He called me the N-word. Man, miss me. Call me the N-word and touch me. And I will tear your ass cat raggedy. Otherwise, keep bumping your gums. We have to no longer allow people to put us in emotional situations when that's their goal. Their goal is to put us in emotional situations and they distract us. Last week, look, November 1st, what is it? November 19th or 20th or whatever the day is. We're in the teens in November. November 1st, everybody was up and on about SNAP benefits. You know how I knew those SNAP benefits would be turned on? Because guess what? Walmart got a whole lot of stock on their shelves that ain't being sold. what they're going to do with that stock. Here, Kroger, and throughout the country, Kroger, a lot of stock that's going bad. It has to be sold. You really believe that they won't let their friends' money get messed up? Nah. But see, what they really was doing is running up the healthcare. And see, they make the healthcare unaffordable, and you making poor food choices. You get sick and you die. It's called population control. But see, you're not thinking. You're thinking about right now. You're thinking about in this box. When am I gonna get my next meal? So when they turn the SNAP benefits off, are you going to buy non-perishable goods? Are you going to load up on beans? Are you going to load up on rice? Are you going to load up on potatoes? See, because beans, rice, and potatoes will fill you up for all day. See, we don't really need, look, think about this. They put drugs, pesticides, and all this stuff in a lot of our, in the meats. Our meat can't be sold in other countries because they like, y'all got red dye and all this foolishness in y'all meat. Have you ever thought about the fact that if you stop eating that meat, your blood pressure go down? You start eating more vegetables and start growing some of your vegetables in your house or your backyard, or even buy you a little trough and put it in your living room and put a light over it. And you can make your own peppers, you can make your own tomatoes, you can make your own potatoes, you can make your own a whole lot of things. And then at that point, you don't need to go to the grocery store. See, that's why it's illegal to have a garden of your own in Florida. How about that? Why would it be illegal to make my own tomatoes? See, we have to start thinking about these things, y'all. See, they don't care about your black ass skin. They don't. Oh, I don't like black people. That's your business, man. It's this joke. I think it was Richard Pryor or Red Fox. It was Red Fox. He said he went into a place. We don't serve N-words. He's like, good, I don't eat them. That's where we have to get to, man. Don't nobody put their hands. See, when you react because they say something, you put yourself at a disadvantage 2 times. Mentally and emotionally, you're at a disadvantage because you're not thinking anymore. And then if you physically attack them, you go to jail for assault. And now, guess what? You're eligible for slavery. Or you're eligible to never be able to work in a position that you want to work in, or never be able to get a loan, or never be able to live where you want to live. And you put yourself in a cycle of death. And we keep doing it. The weapon they use against you is your mind. Your mind against you. And you don't want, as Dr. Amos Wilson said at the top of the show, they make you learning ain't cool. Engaging ain't cool. Oh, no new friends. I don't trust these people. I'm better trusting them. You sound like a damn fool when you're in my community and you say, I've had less issues with white people than black people. Are you outside your entire simple mind? Really? How many black people captured your ass and put you in captivity and beat you to as low as they can get you without killing you? Or well, then you'll go another thing. Well, they sold each other. No, they didn't. So do you call that about European slavery? Because the Greeks had slaves that looked like Greek people. The Italians had slaves that looked like the German. Everybody had slaves. And that's when they try to tell you. But chattel slavery was different. Because even when it was this in the Bible, they had slaves in the Bible, the Jews. Well, guess what? We the Jews in the Bible, you damn fool. Monotheology was created by my people. People look just like me. Science was created by me, people. Astrology was created by my people. They don't even let you. This is why they cut off knowledge, because if I can cut that off, I can control you. Their greatest weapon is numbing your mind. Why do you think if you can hit, I love YouTube. I watch a lot of documentaries. I love nerding out on YouTube. I'm hitting like. I rarely even watch sports anymore. But because the algorithm does not want me to continue to enhance, they'll throw something sports worthy in there. And you know what I do? I take a mental note just in case I want to go back to it, and I keep hitting. And then something that I'm no longer subscribed to, it will pop up, because they don't want you to enhance your mind. That's their greatest weapon is to numb you down. Well, he's been doing all this knowledge stuff. Let's throw some silly stuff and make him laugh. No, I don't want to laugh. Keep scrolling. Let's throw a fight in there. How is it that, do y'all think I watch drug dealer documentaries? No, I don't. But you know what? They keep coming through because I'm in history. So they're going to throw that in history. Then they throw some, the Godfather stuff in front of me. No, I don't want to watch that. because the more you pour in, that's what comes out. If you only know Godfather, gangster, killer, dope dealer, what is your mind going to be set towards? Gangster, killer, dope dealer, nefarious activity. So you're not going to be thinking creativity. You're not going to be thinking enhancing the history of my people. I'm enhancing my mind for the history of my people, so I won't make the same pitfalls that they made. So I won't be Martin King and say integration is the key, and then later in my life go, damn, I might have dropped the ball. No disrespect to the late great Dr. Martin Luther King. He's one of my heroes. I have nothing bad to say about him, but we are learning from his mistakes. We won't attack people like our great elder ancestor, Dr. Malik El-Haj Shabazz, aka Malcolm X. We are learning from him. So we don't attack publicly Jackie Robinson. We don't attack publicly Martin King. We don't attack publicly Lena Horne and other people who were part of the movement, Dick Gregory. We don't attack those people. We engage with them behind closed doors, and we move forward. If you're not willing to do that, you are part of the problem. You are not part of the solution. You are the problem. What we need to use is our greatest weapon, and that would be our minds. Understand. Think about, I'm going to run through a few things, and I want you to really think about it. Harriet Tubman, she escaped, went somewhere. Now, mind you, a plantation is probably the size of a community in an urban community. Just about like Harlem, West New York, East New York, East LA, the Fifth Ward, wherever you are as a community, that's about the size of a plantation, right? As far as the eye can see in every direction. All right. If you've never been off that plantation, how do you know? First, how do you know about to get from Baltimore to Philadelphia? Second, how do you know Philadelphia exists? Because they ain't letting you read maps at the end of the night. And how do you know how to get there? That means your people tool the terrain of the area. They've been there. They taught you how to use the stars. But if you've never been there, how you know the stars are gonna guide you to any place? Unless you know you were here first. That's one thing. But if you don't know that, then you just believe Harriet Tubman freed the slaves. How does she even know the route? See, I'm gonna go north. If you've never been but one place, most of us are direction averse now in 2025. You can't get from here to Mississippi, most of us. Well, what's a map? Well, I've actually been on a trip with somebody, and I was look. I looked at a map and showed it, and they said, "What if the map is wrong?" I'm not knocking that person. I'm just saying, but that's how adverse we are in this century and last century. So how could someone who's never even heard of a map do it? Because their ancestors walked them through it. The knowledge of history, the knowledge of enhancing, the knowledge of putting yourself in the best possible situation so you can excel. That is in you. If you're not thinking, you don't think about those things. Another thing, why is it they attacking education? Look how, remember I said, history don't repeat itself. It's just a cycle. So you put clothes in the washing machine, you put soap in the washing machine, water come down, mix up the clothes, rinse it off. More water comes in, rinse the soap off. More water comes in, dries it up, wrings it out. You take it, put it in the dryer. Rinse and repeat. That's not history repeating itself. That's just the cycle. Here's the cycle. At one point in this country, you couldn't read because, according to the great Frederick Douglass, late great ancestor Frederick Douglass, the person who was in charge of ruling his life at that time, because he ain't own him, he just ruled his life because he was on his land and he didn't know better. He said, you can't teach them how to read, because if we teach an enslaved person how to read, they ain't gonna never want to be a slave again. Listen to that. Listen to that. In the 1800s, they said, if you teach him how to read, he'll enhance his mind to the point where we can't control him. Now, fast forward 70 years. They got Pope Fannie Lou Hamer. She wants to vote. Well, you have to be able to read and write to vote. Do they not want you to read and write, or they just don't want you a part of it? And then you fast forward after Fannie Lou Hamer, 60 years, it's 2025. You got people like Nick Fuentes, one of the biggest on the internet. If it was a literacy test to vote, Democrats will win every time. Donald Trump literally said he don't like people with intelligence. You see the difference? The more you enhance yourself, the more useless you are to the system. Because when you enhance your mind, you stop listening to them. And when you stop listening to them, you're not being controlled. You're not being controlled. You're no good to them. Understand what you're dealing with. Understand what you're up against. Your mind, I told you, your greatest weapon is your mind because it creates things. Granville Woods made the walkie-talkie. Eli Whitney, Cotton Gin. Can't think of the brother who created the blood, transporting blood so people can survive, even though he died because they didn't want to help him and he ended up dying. But that's another situation. But he did invent it. The internet. How to get to the moon, all the stuff that the more you learn, the more powerful you become. The more powerful you become, the less I can control you. If I can't control you, you may become all powerful. You become all powerful, you may kill me. But why don't you just take the time and say, let's back up off them, and then allow them to do it to a certain point. But they know. That's why Steph Curry is the greatest. We've never seen anything like him. Kevin Durant, he's 6'10", 6'11". We've never seen anything like him. But I've seen that, yeah, they wasn't shooting 10 or 12 threes a night, but Glenn Rice was an awesome shooter. He just wasn't shooting 10, 12, 14 threes a night because he was going in and dunking. He had a multifaceted game. Not to knock my brother Steph Curry, one of his biggest fans, right here all day, every day since he was a little guy that nobody knew of at Davidson. Had a homeboy, shout out to James Devine, who was at Davidson, put me on to him. But stop telling me we've never seen this. We've never seen anything like Russell Westbrook. Yes, we have. There's a guy by the name of Oscar Robertson. There's a guy named by the name of Lafayette Lever. We've seen it. We've never seen anything like Michael Jordan. Yes, we have. I know this dude named Julius Winfield Irving for the other New Jersey Nets, the Virginia Squires, and the Philadelphia 76ers. He inspired Michael Jordan. So stop telling me we've never seen Carmelo Anthony strong and he's got brute force and we've never seen it. Yes, Bernard King. See, if you look, that's why they tell you, they keep you focused right here. Because if you go look back at Bernard King and you look at Dr. J and you look at Elgin Baylor, it was things going on around them. Now you're going to stumble upon actual history. Then basketball ain't so important anymore because it doesn't enhance your mind. Do you understand they have literally millions of people vying for 490 jobs? A literal millions of people trying to get to the NBA. Is that a horrible dream? No, it's not. But something that you can only do for the most part for about 10 or 12 years. And then what? Oh, I'll be a businessman. Based on what? Because you poured everything you had into that. I want you to understand, your mind is the most powerful thing that you will ever have. And it's stronger than any gun. The very Mac computer that I'm using is designed after your brain. But guess what? You don't need to download any additional information, any additional hard drives. The hard drive never goes bad. The memory is never full. It is endless. Your mind is equivalent to the internet, but you have not been able to develop it in the way that you should because you allow people to put in it what you want, what they want in it. So they'll be distracted. Like I said, Walmart, they weren't going to let them damn SNAP benefits disappear. They weren't. Why would they do that? I'm going to miss out on some money for these people, these working class clowns that they keep that now I get the 65-foot boat instead of the 30-foot boat. Or I get the 150-foot boat. No, I'm not trading in any of my stuff. Turn that back on before you have problems. Now they got you focusing on child molestation. And you got jackasses like Stephen A. Smith downplaying child molestation. But see, then we're supposed to argue. We're supposed to get engaged and get involved with arguments about Stephen A. Meanwhile, insurance is going to be so high, you have to stand on the giraffe's head to be able to pay it. No. That's the real problem. Because guess what? When President Barack Hussein Obama, the one who didn't do anything for black people suffer from all the major illnesses the most, but he made healthcare cheap and free. he did anything for you. You at the top of the food chain with diabetes, top of the food chain, heart disease, top of the food chain with high blood pressure, all the ailments, prostate cancer, breast cancer, cervical cancer. We at the top of the food chain with all of those situations, but he didn't do anything for Black people. But anyway, when he made healthcare affordable and in some cases free, that cost other people money. And you know, those subsidies, that $40 billion that they sent to Argentina, how could that not help you in your healthcare? You know, like the dude who got unalived by the guy, allegedly by the guy who y'all chose the financial way versus his wife living. Like, or in July of 2010, when I took my mom to the hospital when she was having a panic attack and she was fighting this horrible disease. And they said, we're going to do this and we're going to do this. And they named like 8 things they were going to do. And then they came back and said, all we can do is make her comfortable, because all they were paying for was the minimum care at that time. You know, that. But you're worried about if a group of pedophiles are pedophiles. And then at some point, you're going to start seeing people compare Donald Trump to R. Kelly because they tap it in our community. See, if we stop engaging, but see, if you want to engage, that's cool. But you can walk and chew gum. You can walk and you can be worried about that, but your main focus be this. You know, like you take care of your children, you take care of your significant other, you feed yourself, you take care of your parents, you take care of your friends, and you watch football, and you watch Housewives, or whatever you watch, or Friends and Neighbors, one of my favorite shows. We do all this. I do my podcast, I talk to my people, I talk to my loved ones, and I do my podcast. You know, you can walk and chew gum, but I prioritize things. See, they want you to be as minimally informed, because if you are unaware and uninvolved, you can't move forward. Oh, Chuck Schumer and those guys ended the shutdown. Okay, now, does anybody think about the election that happened at the beginning of November, when the Democrats took over had a shift in power for the House of Representatives? Is anybody talking about how if working class people start thinking in the working class collective and start moving towards independent thinking, they can have those people in the Senate and force them to do things? Guess what? You can get 60 people in those Senate seats, and you can get 13 people on the Supreme Court, and then you can rewrite all the stuff that has been done wrong. Anybody talking about that? No, they're not, because they talking about a dude who dead, who sent emails about a dude who's a pervert, and that ain't gonna help us at all. But we talking about that. Are we talking about any way we can take the 13th Amendment and remove, in the event that you break the law, you can be enslaved? Can we talk about that? We're not talking about that. Can we talk about rewriting the Civil Rights Act? Can we talk about rewriting the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Act, and the Housing Act? Can we and make them laws so that way we don't have to ratify them every 30, 40, 50 years? You can just say, this is it. But you're not talking about that. Can you talk about how we can remove people who are not doing us any service? You know, like the lady, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she realizes that that eventually the pendulum will swing back the other way, and the people who are on the wrong side of history are going to go to jail. And she's not the brightest person, but she's smart enough to know jail ain't for me. See, if you don't get involved, then you can't complain. If you can't complain, then what's your point? Or you can just continue to fall in line and allow them to let you think. And then because Justin Fields is doing way better, you know, Justin Fields isn't doing good, and Caleb Williams is doing great, and the Bears are back. And that's dope to think about. But then when reality sets in, my grandmother can't eat. My uncle, who has diabetes, can't afford the medication, so he may get amputated somewhere. Something amputated from him. Ain't it strange that erectile dysfunction drugs are all over the internet, all over the TV, but the diabetes prevention ain't? Heart disease prevention ain't. You don't see any heart disease prevention commercials, but you see erectile dysfunction commercials. You don't see any cervical cancer prevention commercials, any prostate cancer prevention commercials. I don't mean go get tested for your prostate. What is going to stop this from happening? You never see it. But hey, even though even though I'm gonna die at 62 years old of a heart attack, my penis would be hard. That's what we focus on. That's what we focus on. So you can use your greatest weapon, meaning research your community. You should be able to walk through your community with a time machine. What's the time? Ain't no such thing as a time machine. Yes, it is. Me, I could walk down Cedric Street, 1400 Cedric, on the north side of Chicago. And and you're literally walking with a time machine. I can see the past, I can see the present, and I can see the future. The past, hey, I remember Oscar Mayer was right there. I remember Cooley Howard was right here. I remember playing basketball right there. That's a time machine. I remember we used to kick it right here. Remember that such and such got hurt right here. Remember that fight that was right here. I'm exploring the past. I'm looking at currently. When did this? And then in the future, you see people building things. If you're able to walk through a community, if I drive down Roosevelt Road, the Broadway Strand used to be right here. The church store used to be right here. Tony's used to be right here. Rico's used to be right here. Moon's used to be right there. I can walk through that community. Father and Sons used to be right here. KFC used to be right here. McDonald's used to be right here. Right where CVS used to be a liquor store right here. Guys used to stand out there and sing all day. You see the past, the present, and the future. The future really doesn't exist. You can see the past and the current and predict the future or project the future. But if we are not willing to engage on that level, then we're wasting our time every day, all day, and twice on Sunday. We can no longer allow people to make us have emotional responses, distract us from organizing, immobilizing, organizing, and taking action, and telling us what we're seeing. Last thing I'm going to touch on is stop referencing things that you haven't researched or looking at them with an open mind, and maybe you're looking at it the wrong way. You have slave codes when they start allowing us to read our Bible, then they would pick out certain passages like master, slave, obey your master, and things like that. And then they don't want you to strive to the top. But hold it. They teach it like this. A lot of pastors teach it. Well, you need to just sit still and wait for the Lord. You need to have patience. I don't hear it that way. That's the way you teach it. If that's the way you want to receive it, that's the way you receive it. I receive it like this. God wants you to live in abundance. It also says that he wants you to live through all the riches that he has. He wants you to be happy. That means that he's going to grant you all the desires of your heart. That's what it says. Not a problem. I love that part. Then they say, no, but you need to slow down and be patient. No, the patience comes with, it ain't instant popcorn. It is not microwavable popcorn when you get 90 seconds. You used to put a popcorn in a popper and you get microwave. Microwave is way faster. The popper takes a little time. The grease has to heat up. The kernels got to heat up. They pop. You eat them. 90 seconds later, that popcorn over here is done. You eat. So if that's the case, the patience comes when you continue to delve into your creative juices. Podcast, TV show, second podcast, and a third podcast, fourth podcast, stock investments, talking to somebody about a business, stock investments. Now, you got those, and you're working those things, and you're patiently adding into each one of them. Your stock portfolio is growing $5, $10, $20 a week, and then you engaging in both your podcasts, and then you come up with a separate idea for this, and then you buying equipment, so you're investing. So if you're patiently working on all of them, and then you engaging with your significant other because they're propping you up, and you going to work so that those people are taken care of, and now you got your children in place, you got your significant other in place, and you got your dreams working. and then one pops. But this one needs, this one gets you an extra $50, but that one need $10. So you take the $40 profit and you put it over there, and you patiently working towards it. God rewards you if you are working towards what he's blessed you to achieve. So you patiently wait on it to work as you work diligently and study to show yourself worthy. And as you study to show yourself worthy, he will enhance you. And then all the desires of your heart will manifest. That's the way I read it. I don't believe it. Sit on your hand. Oh God, please, 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 please. No, that's the way a lot of pastors teach it. I see it all the time. I watch church on TV sometimes. If I don't make it to my church, I turn it on, see if I can get a good message. I'm a chew up the meat, spit out the bones kind of guy. If I totally disagree with everything you say, it's probably something that's going to register. Shout out to my cousin, Bigotry Vaughn. He enhanced my life 2 days ago. I was talking about forgiveness. And he gave me something in regards to forgiveness. He made me a better human being in 90 seconds. In 90 seconds. So hopefully this hour, whatever, or close to an hour that you've engaged with me on makes you a better person. And I'll clip these up and put them in 30 to 45 second clips. And hopefully that same energy circulates through you. If it doesn't, I understand you didn't get it. And maybe you'll get it next time. And if you don't, I understand. I'm HRap. This is In the Bench Media. Got a lot of things on the way. Please continue to support, like, share, subscribe if you haven't. 2 fingers, 1 word. I'm HRap. And
I often put it this way. In order for us to be in the state that we're in today as people, we have to be out of our minds. We literally have to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be crazy. It is necessary for us to be backwards. It is necessary for us to be maladjusted. It is necessary for us to be disunited. It is necessary for us to be self-hating. It is necessary for us to be filled with an inferiority complex. In a world where the European is essentially about 10% of the world's population, if that 10% is to continue to rule over the other 90%, it must keep that 90% out of its mind. It must keep that 90% in a state of deception. It must keep